Okay. More from the Philippines. Welcome, everyone. If you're just coming in to get started, we've asked people to say hello in the chat and let us know where you're logging in from today. There's also a poll you can answer that we'll come back to towards the end. And yeah, I think we'll get started. So, hello, everyone. We welcome you today to this information session for the Tropical Forest Landscapes Online Certificate Program. This year-long certificate program offers a unique opportunity for environmental professionals from around the world to connect with the Yale School of the Environment, to develop concrete skills, advance your careers, and to explore science and solutions related to tropical land management. My name is Jillian Bloomfield. I'm Associate Director of Online Programs for the Environmental Leadership and Training Initiative, or ELTI, which is a program of the Yale School of the Environment. And I'm here today with my colleagues, Emmy Nicholson and Abby York, who will also be facilitating the session and serve as mentors and coordinators of the program. Emmy and Abby, would you like to introduce yourselves?
Sure. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or for wherever you're coming from. My name is Emmy Nicholson. I'm the Online Training Associate with ELTI, and I help in the day-to-day delivery of the program, and it's so excited to get to talk to you all today.
Hi, everyone. I'm Abby York. I'm the Online Program Administrator at ELTI, so I'll be managing admissions as well as tuition payments for the certificate program. Please be sure to reach out to me if you have any questions.
Great, thank you so much. And after the session, we'll give you the email, although Emmy and Abby, feel free to write that in the chat for anyone now, tropicalcertificate@yale.edu. Please reach out to us if you want to schedule a time to chat, because we're here for you as prospective participants and then throughout the certificate experience. So today we'll be presenting to you an information session about the program. We've divided it into 6 segments. Let's see, there we go. So first we'll start with a program overview, then a little bit more about the experience you'll all get as participants. Then I'll hand it over to Emmy to talk more about the benefits of the program as shared by our current and past participants. Then Abby will talk about the costs and admissions, including information about scholarships. Then we'll open it up to question and answer. So at any point, if you have questions that you would like addressed in this session, please use the question and answer feature that's part of Zoom. You should see a button that says Q&A, and you should be able to post your questions there. And we'll try to get to as many as we can. And then we'll close it out towards the end with additional opportunities to learn more. Okay, so the program overview. What is this program? This is the Tropical Forest Landscapes Online Certificate Program. The official title is Tropical Forest Landscapes Conservation, Restoration, and Sustainable Use. And this is one of Yale University's non-degree programs. So it's a year-long certificate program that is designed to reach people in all over the world to complement your current work and your current professional and personal lives. It has 4 8-week online courses that happen throughout the year. So first we talk about the fundamentals, ecological and social concepts, then delve into the social issues with human dimensions and engagement in our people course. Then our strategies course, where we talk about land use planning and implementation, a whole range of restoration and agroforestry strategies, as well as strategies for improving ecosystem services and climate change adaptation and mitigation, and then monitoring of it all. And then our funding course, where we talk about financial concepts and tools and the range of different sources of funding for conservation, aspects of budgeting and planning, so that you all can think about those sources of funding and how it best relates to your needs. Then throughout the entire year, there's a simultaneous capstone project course. This course is called Capstone, Designing a Conservation and Restoration Project. And what it is that you all will come to the program with an idea in mind of a specific area, a landscape, for which you can relate everything you're learning in the theory, in the case studies, to an area of personal and professional interest. And so you'll work in the capstone course with our lead instructors to develop skills, to practice using different skills and tools for project planning, and then to finish the program with a practice presentation and a document in hand that serves as your capstone project. And then after the program, we have a 1-week field experience that's optional in a different tropical country each year. And this is a really neat opportunity for people to come together from all over the world to see conservation and restoration in practice, to engage with different stakeholders, and to network with each other. So who is the program for? So really, the program is for anyone interested in designing and implementing and monitoring conservation and restoration initiatives. You'll see in this chart, we have a wide range of sectors from private industry, nonprofits, government, academia, and other areas. And there have been over 207 organizations represented by our participants to date. Just for some examples, these participants have been staff members from governments, NGOs, aid agencies, foundations, businesses, extension agencies, and academia. We've also had graduate students and recent graduates, and then also landowners and farmers, ranchers, community organizers interested in developing projects on the lands that they manage or have access to. Why do people enroll? So that people enroll for a wide variety of reasons, but some examples that our applicants have shared is to hone skills in the area of forest restoration, expand networks, to learn from people in different countries, develop broad perspective of forest issues, to get new tools and new strategies to help restore forests in their own countries, to learn and start a new career in this field, and to use the skills from the program to design an actual project. So what is the experience that you all will gain as participants? Well, first, who will you engage with? So there is a whole suite of Yale School of the Environment faculty and expert affiliates that you'll have access to. These are the lead and contributing instructors to the courses who will come to live sessions that will give you feedback on your assignments, and you'll engage with them on a regular basis throughout the different courses of the program. Also, you'll interact with us, the three of us, and our team of postgraduate associates and fellows, current master's students who contribute to the program. So as program coordinators and mentors, we're with you every step of the way. So this is a very facilitated, supported program. You all get access to us. We help work with you, help keep you on track, make sure you're reaching your learning objectives, and can be successful in the program. You'll also interact with over 80 international expert contributors. So the faculty and the Yale affiliates that are leading the courses are only part of the resources in the program. We involve many, many different contributors from different parts of the world in our pre-recorded online videos and as guests coming to the different live sessions for question and answer and discussion. And then your own cohort and the cohort of participants. So I like to say that the knowledge shared by the lectures is only a portion of the knowledge of the program. The participant cohort of over 70 participants and then over 300 alumni, you all are coming with such rich knowledge to and experience. And so that is a major part of the program, is this ability to build a community of fellow learners and to exchange ideas and learn from each other. And you can see in this map the geographic distribution of our participants from the first 5 years of the program. So it's quite an international group. So what do you do in a given week? You access content. This content is stored on our learning management system, which is a platform that Yale manages called Canvas. And on that platform, each week, you access a homepage for the week that goes through the core concepts of the week, post links to the recorded videos, links to readings, both required and supplemental, the assignments, and other information, all stored in a centrally located place. And you can access pre-recorded videos, readings, interactive presentations, and case studies. There are also opportunities for feedback. So we come together on a weekly basis on Zoom for live discussion and question and answer in our weekly live sessions. There are also discussion boards by which participants are answering questions and reflecting on the content of the week. There's opportunities for peer-to-peer exchange and for expert review of your assignments and documents. And then the whole program is designed with an eye towards application. So you have these self-reflections where you reflect on how the content of the week relates to your work. There are guided exercise and skill building activities using different tools for project planning and again for relating these concepts to a specific area of interest. There's your personal capstone projects so that you finish the program having given a presentation about your project, the culmination of a year's worth of work on these projects, and you have a document in hand which has a narrative and an appendix full of information, again, the culmination of your work in the program. And then you can take those documents and that experience and apply that to your work outside of the program after you're finished to implement your projects, to practice these skills in other contexts, and to share this information with your colleagues. And then the optional field course. These pictures show some examples of recent field courses we had for certificate program participants. During these field courses, they're very interactive. You spend a lot of time in the field visiting different landholders, seeing different conservation and restoration strategies in practice, and talking to the different stakeholders about their values, about their experiences and perspectives. So you can see we had a course in Colombia in 2023. This is a picture from the course in the Philippines from 2020, and then a course in the Panama from 2023 as well. So now I'll hand it over to Emmy to talk more about the benefits of the program as shared by our past participants.
Great. Thank you, Jillian. So hi, yes, I'm going to talk about a little bit about some of the benefits that you'll have being part of this online certificate program. So one of the first ones, as Jillian has mentioned, is this access to a global network of current and past participants. We have over 300 participants representing over 60 countries and over 200 organizations. But as well as your participants and your fellow cohort, you'll also have access to these 80 plus global experts and over 50 applied case studies in a variety of locations and a variety of topics. One of our previous graduates from 2023, Emily Larouzic from France, said that these exchanges she had in the weekly live sessions made her forget that the program is online and gave her the opportunity to establish a friendly network of people all over the world. As well as it's not just this friendly network, it's also this network of people with a lot of knowledge in a wide variety of like these topics, but also of these expertise, as well as of these tools that you could be utilizing within your own communities. You'll also gain a holistic perspective and also get to practice practical skills from a wide variety of disciplinary perspectives, also while having the opportunity to reflect, engage, and discuss these perspectives and these disciplines with your community and with your cohort. You'll then also have applied assignments that will get expert feedback from a lot of the different experts and instructors that you'll be working with. Angie Xu, who is a 2023 TFL graduate as well from Taiwan and the UK, said that the balanced approach to understanding people in the landscapes offers a holistic view for designing conservation and restoration projects. There's also this investment in learning success. Like Jillian said, we are with you every step of the way in mentorship and instruction. We also want to help facilitate your capstone project and any other practices you're interested in implementing within your own communities and projects or your professional sphere. We're also very flexible with a lot of the assignments in terms of how you'd like to implement them, how you want to work with us, and perhaps even also your time, because we understand that this is happening while you're also running your personal life and potentially your professional life. Zipporah Atenyu from Ghana, who's a 2021 TFL graduate, said that the course instructors have extensive field experience and real life insights. They're not just academics, they're also very easy to contact and very personable. So if you do have any questions either throughout this presentation, after this presentation, or even if you decided to be a participant within this program, we are available to you and for you. You'll also have, as Jillian mentioned, this applied capstone project where you're going to take targets, vision, you're going to understand threat assessments, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, that SWOT symbol there, understanding stakeholder analysis, creating an activity work plan for this project, as well as understanding and creating your own budget and funding plan for this project that's going to apply the principles learned within this program of project planning, logistical assessment, and project design tools applied to a real life project of your choice. And this is going to work towards the project conceptual model, a project brief, as well as a tailored presentation for a targeted audience. So some examples of other capstone projects, and these are some statistics over the course of the program, that we've had about half, or 49% exactly, directly involved within someone's or a participant's professional sphere. 9%, however, had been directly involved in their personal lives. Others have had no relationship to their project or within their specific community, but have also partnered with outside organizations, about 18%, in order to implement this project. And the other one they had no background with or was unknown. And here shown on the right, for example, Zipporah's project, where it addressed degradation in Longshuan Forest in Nigeria. We also had a sustainable management of forests and NTFPs for the betterment of Chhattisgarh's forests and tribal forest communities by Ritika Gupta. So just some examples of what you might be doing for some project. Just to give you a little bit of background into some of our participants and what else they had to say. Stefania, who's a 2022 to 2023 graduate, also a 3 Cairns Fellow, which we will talk about a little bit more. I'll have Abby discuss this with our scholarship opportunities. She is from Peru. She worked on her capstone project regarding conservations and ecosystems recovery in Peru. And Stephanie has said that the program is an eye-opening learning experience where she was reshaping her approach to designing and implementing conservation and restoration projects in a fair and cost-effective manner. So definitely this program supported her in becoming a well-rounded forest landscape professional. So if you're looking to really up how you would like to implement projects in different ways, such as being fair and cost effective, but also really becoming a more well-rounded professional, this could be the course for you. We also have Geraldo Jr. Fernandez, who is a 2021 graduate, and he came to us from Visayas State University in the Philippines, and he discussed a capstone project about the development of a conservation learning site for out-of-school youth, students, and farmers in Baybay City, Leyte, Philippines. And he said that this was the most amazing experience to know so many people from different parts of the world, all passionate and all dedicating their time to conservation. And the capstone course in particular made him really engaged with real problems and bring real solutions. So if you are someone who's also looking for this community to help you implement these projects and address problems and bring these real solutions to your community or a project of your choice, this really could be the course for you. But what happens after the program? So graduates have said that this program has helped them apply new tools to their work, write projects or funding proposals, implement their capstone project, improve other projects as well as their technical strategies or social inclusion within those projects, advance their career, or even just change positions, a field of work, or discipline. Start a new educational program. If you're looking to get into a higher educational program after this one, this is a great stepping stone. And so much more. Peter Bulima from Kenya, who's a 2023 graduate as well as a 3 Cairns Fellow, said that thanks to the skills gained, he's secured a new role and is now coordinating the Youth for Nature Inuka project, which is a youth-led, youth-focused, nature-based solutions restoration project. So really what you would want from this program and where you would like to go is up to you, and there are a lot of options afterwards. I'm going to now pass it off to Abby, who's going to talk about cost and admissions for the program.
All right. As Emmy mentioned, I'll be going through the costs and admissions as well as some important dates to keep in mind for the 2024-2025 certificate program. So to start off with, for costs and admissions, tuition for this program is $6,000 and the tuition includes 4 8-week online courses and the year-long capstone project. It also includes unlimited access to all online course materials, support from mentors throughout the program, face-to-face online interactions with experts, and personalized expert advice on your coursework. In addition to the year-long certificate program, there was the optional field course that Emmy discussed earlier. This field course is $2,000 and it includes a 1-week immersion experience in the tropics, all course materials, site visits, field exercises, and facilitated activities, as well as room, board, and transportation in the country where the field course takes place. For both aspects of the program, there are some scholarships available. These scholarships are available on a competitive basis, and they range between 25 and 75% of the tuition fee. In order to apply to the scholarship, you would need to complete the scholarship application section within the main program application. And there is a short essay for each award type in which you can apply, and you can apply for scholarships in multiple categories, which include leadership and impact, career development, and the general award. As a note, the admission decisions for the program are independent of any scholarship requests. In addition to the standard scholarship application, we do also have the 3 Cairns Fellowship, which Emmy mentioned earlier. And so this is fully sponsored online tuition. It's geared towards individuals working on climate solutions in the Global South. So in order to be eligible for this fellowship, your primary citizenship would need to be from a country within the Global South. You would need to be a professional or have a professional or academic experience relevant to climate solutions and actively be working on climate solution implementation. And as with the previous scholarship opportunity, you would need to complete the fellowship application within the main application, and any decisions made regarding the fellowship requests are independent of any admission decisions. For external funding for the program, we have had some past participants get some support in different ways, whether that be employer support from professional development funds, professional development grants, or some other awards, such as the AmeriCorps Awards or WWF. Some examples of sponsoring organizations we've seen in the past, like I mentioned, WWF, there's also the U.S. Forest Service, the Nature Conservancy, and many other programs that have sponsored some tuition for participants in the past. All right, so for important dates to go through for the 2024-2025 program, so applications will open on January 10th. The first deadline to be aware of is February 28th. This is the early application deadline in which applicants would receive their decision by March 22nd. The next and final deadline will be April 5th. This is, like I mentioned, the final application deadline, and you would receive your admission decision by May 3rd. And the start of the 2024 program is on June 24, and it will run through May of the next year. So if you are interested in applying to the program, these are the steps in which you can actually apply. So you can visit tropicalrestorationcertificate.yale.edu/admissions to review the application requirements, and you can begin applying, like I mentioned, on January 10th. Before starting your application, be sure to review the program dates, the curriculum and program details, application requirements, and the technical requirements of participating in the program. In order to apply to the program, you do need to submit an online application form. Again, you can find that information on our website starting January 10th. You would need to have your resume, one personal statement and 2 short response statements, a scanned or electronic transcript, one professional reference, and then in addition to these required materials, there are some optional materials you could submit, and that would be either documentation of additional coursework or official TOEFL or IELTS test score result reports. So some tips to keep in mind as you begin the application process. Please be sure to review requirements and begin gathering your application materials early on. Contact your professional reference ahead of time to give them enough notice to get a reference in. Pay special attention to the essay requirements. And lastly, please contact us at tropicalcertificate@yale.edu if you have any questions or any technical issues with accessing the application form or any other aspect of the application process. All right, so at this time, I'd like to open it up to our Q&A. I do see a handful of questions in the Q&A feature as well as the chat. Please be sure to put any more in as we're going throughout. We'll get to as many as we can. I know Jillian's answered a handful already in the chat, but if you have any follow-ups on those, please feel free to reach out. All right. So the first thing we have from Michelle is, what is the expected daily time start and end time for each online session? Jillian, if you wanted to take that.
Sure. Thanks for your question, Michelle. So we keep it flexible with the idea of seeing the time zone distribution of our participants, but I will say that because of the international nature of our participants year after year, it is almost always the most reasonable time to do the live session at 9 a.m. Eastern US time, which then, unfortunately for those in the Philippines, turns into 9 or 10 p.m. for you all. But what that does is it accommodates everyone all the way from those joining us at 6 in the morning on the western coast of the United States, throughout all of Latin America, throughout all of Europe and Africa, and then into Asia. So the past 5 years of the program, the live sessions have been every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern US time. And my assumption is that it'll probably stay that way.
Great, thank you, Jillian. Our next question is regarding transcripts. Would you be able to clarify whether it is required for the translation to be conducted by a state official translator, or if using a regular translator is acceptable?
Sure. It can be a very informal translation. Basically, we just want to give the opportunity for our instruction team to be able to see what courses you've taken as part of an undergraduate or bachelor's degree. So it does not need to be a state official translator. You can use a regular translator. You can also translate it yourself. And you don't need to do the semester abroad, but you can. And anything that you think will help advance your application, we encourage you to submit. If it's going to slow down your application by a lot to get a hold of, say, the semester abroad ones or something like that, then we still would encourage you to submit your application as soon as possible after the opening date in January. So yeah, in summary, we're pretty flexible about the translation.
Great, thank you again, Jillian. Next question we have is, for applying to external scholarship, we would need an acceptance letter from ELTI before proceeding, correct?
So it really depends. We want to help you fund and get into the program as much as possible. So if you know of external scholarships that have application deadlines for which you need a letter in advance, reach out to us and talk to us, and we can see what is possible. Or if there's a way we can give a letter that will satisfy that, but still give flexibility for the application process. If in that case, we would especially encourage you to get in your application as early as possible. If you get it in by the early notification deadline, that guarantees a response by the end of March. But if you, again, had a financial reason why you needed to get a decision earlier, we can try to have the review team review it on a more rolling basis for certain circumstances. So we want you to apply to these external scholarships. We want you to be well funded for the program. So reach out to us on a tropical certificate at yale.edu with your personal circumstance, and we'll see what we can do to help you. I can also see already there's a follow-up from Carolina saying that she works for an English-speaking company. Does she need to prove her English with the TOEFL or IELTS certificate? So the TOEFL and IELTS are optional. If you have those available to you, if you've done that for any other program, it doesn't hurt to upload it to your application. That will help if there's any questions or concerns about your English language ability. We encourage everyone to recognize that this is a course and a program that is in English that will require speaking, writing, and reading and watching videos all in English. We do, however, accommodate different levels of English in that all of our different lectures have subtitles and captions available, and we know people go through the material at different speeds. Some download and watch and rewatch them, some slow them down or even speed them up. So we try to be very flexible, but we do expect you to have ability to communicate in English. That usually becomes very evident in the essays that are part of the application. But again, if there's anything you want to say in your application or upload, like the TOEFL score, we encourage you to do so, but it is not required.
Great, thank you, Jillian. Richard and Marisol, I believe that addresses your questions as well in the chat. Please let us know if you do have an additional follow-up. All right, so the next question we have is about the acceptance rate. So generally, what's the acceptance rate, and is there an option to reapply if they are not successful with their first application?
So usually acceptance rate is over 50%. We are very excited to have participants, again, applying from all over the world. We have a fairly large cohort. But it is a competitive process, and we have had people who did not get in the first year who apply again in a future year who have been successful. One of the biggest things I have told people in this circumstance is to focus a lot on the essays. Usually that's where some of the difference lies between those accepted and not accepted. So the strength of your communication, really try to make your essays very clear and to the point. They don't need to be super flowery. It's not the same as some places with undergraduate programs expect a very kind of storytelling essay. In this case, most of our committee wants to know who you are and how the program will help you advance in your personal goals and to help make a difference for people in the environment. And for those applying for scholarships, definitely take a look at the prompts and make sure to write your essays in a custom way to answer the specific questions being asked for the scholarships. So for example, for the 3 Cairns Fellowship, which talks about climate action, really talk about how you are involved in climate action in the Global South and how the program will help you advance in this mission. So that's the biggest advice I give people who perhaps were less successful one year, either with admission or with the level of scholarship they were looking for, and then are applying in a future year. But overall, there is a very high acceptance rate of, I believe it's over 50%. It might be even up to 75 or higher.
Thank you, Jillian. Layla, I saw that you had raised your hand. If you wanted to pop a follow-up into that question, into the Q&A or into the chat, we will be sure to address the concern you had. For the next question we have from Ceci, do participants apply to the scholarship simultaneously to the general program application, or what is the process generally to apply to the scholarships?
So that one, yes, you apply to scholarships when you apply to the general program application. And that way, when you get your acceptance to the program, if you have applied to a scholarship, you also get a letter a letter of acceptance and a letter of financial support. And so that you'll be able to see right away whether or not what the result is for your scholarship application, and use that to factor into your decision making about whether to enroll, as well as use that as the impetus for seeking additional or supplemental funds. And just as a reminder, most of the scholarships are partial scholarships, which means a certain percentage off of the tuition, but you still need to pay some portion of the tuition, except for the Three Cairns Fellowship, which is a full scholarship. And again, these are competitive scholarships, so it's certainly not guaranteed. So we definitely encourage you to look for funding from those additional sources as well.
Great. That's actually a good transition. We had a question about the Three Cairns Fellowship. Ahmed was asking if that covers the field component as well. And what is the components of the fellowship, like stipends or the other benefits?
So which person asked that question?
Okay,
yeah, I see.
Sorry.
Yeah, Ahmed. Okay, so the Three Cairns Fellowship does not currently cover the field component, but there are scholarships available, partial scholarships available for the field component. So that's something that you apply to later when you're enrolling in the field course. So usually what happens with the field course is that a few weeks into the program, we'll announce the field course and then the process for applying. And that depends on the timing, the staffing that we have, the specific budget of the field course, and all that lines up with how much scholarship support we have. So, so yeah, that's something you would consider after acceptance and enrolling in your given cohort for the online component.
All right. So a little bit more towards the content of the program, we had a question about the funding part of the course, and was curious if this would kind of elaborate on private sector engagement in forest restoration.
Yeah, great question, digging into the content. So the funding course, I find it really inspiring the way that the instructors have done it. We know that you all as participants are coming from all over the world in so many different contexts, and you're going to have access to so many different types of funding sources. So we can't tell you a specific direction to go in for raising funds. So instead, what the program does is the funding course, it first starts out with some key concepts of conservation and restoration funding. It helps you put together a budget of your desired projects and what it is you're looking to do, and then each week presents a different type of funding source. And this has content with lecture materials as well as interviews with different representatives of those funding sources to share their insights on what types of projects are most relevant to their type of funding source and any tips and advice they have for those of you considering that. So it goes through philanthropic sources, it goes through different public sources of funds, it goes through what our instruction team calls cash flows from the land, or the way in which different projects can be designed for the buying and selling of goods and services. And it goes through private sector finance, and some key concepts for understanding private sector finance. And sometimes they frame that also as returns-based approaches, so that those sources are, if your projects are actually going to generate income in and of themselves, then that opens up to more options for private finance or finance depending on generating returns for private investment. Whereas if some of the projects are not going to be generating that, then they're going to want to go more the philanthropic or the public sector approach. And then at the end of the funding course, each participant develops what they call a funding plan, where they've researched the different funding sources and specific options in these different categories and written about which are most relevant to your work.
I'd also build off of what Jillian is saying in saying that For the funding part of the course, as well as each part of the course, all the information is evaluated for every single year-long program to make sure that we are providing you with the most up-to-date and modern information available. So if there's anything major in the world, for example, or major policy that impacts something that you're interested in or that is included in the course changes, we make sure to present that information to you and include it within the course.
Thank you, Jillian and Emmy. We have a couple more questions about generally applying to the program and then a few more about the benefits of the program. So again, this kind of last chance to get some questions into the Q&A feature. So please, if you have any last questions, be sure to do so. Sophia had asked if we would recommend this certificate program for someone who would later like to go into a master's program at the Yale School of the Environment.
So it is a program that people have used as a springboard to that. The admissions is handled very separately. So we have our own admissions process for the certificate program, and the Yale School of Environment has their own admissions process for the master's program. So there's no guarantee of acceptance. However, we know of at least 4 graduates of the program who have finished our certificate program and then enrolled in the master's program, which means they were accepted and then chose to later enroll. There were others who were accepted and did not enroll, and then there were others who applied but were not yet accepted. So it definitely is a springboard. It is not a guarantee, but we really are excited about this opportunity. So this program can be a really neat way to get access to the professors, access to the school, and learn more about it to determine whether the Yale School of Environment is the right place for you to pursue a degree program, and then build on that afterwards with an application. And we know of quite a few who are applying to the master's program from our current cohort. So that's really exciting as well.
Our next and I think last question about applications generally was if it's necessary to be a graduate or if they are able to apply if in the process of graduation. So say they haven't quite finished their degree yet.
So the program requires you to have an undergraduate degree. You can apply if you're going to be getting your undergraduate degree by the time the program starts in June. Definitely apply. We've had people in that circumstance, and that's totally fine. There, in the application process, there is a waiver for the transcripts. So if you have, well, taking a step back, if you are still in an undergraduate program and you don't have a final transcript from your whole degree, you can still upload transcripts from the first parts of your program, and that will be helpful. If you do not have access to your transcripts because of various reasons, some people have been out of school for 30 years, or there are various reasons, there is a waiver that you can fill out where you can explain the circumstance and upload that instead. If you are early on in your undergraduate program, it doesn't hurt to apply to the program, and then put it in, it'll go into the hands of the review committee to decide. And what may happen is they ask you to defer till the next year, but it doesn't hurt to apply. I think you never know what the review committee is going to say, so I really would put a good face forward and see what happens.
Thanks, Jillian. All right, so now getting a little bit more into the benefits of the program, we had a question about access to wider Yale School of the Environment resources like the Careers Office, and if this program allows participation in those resources.
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
Oh, sure. We had a question about if participation in the program allows access to wider Yale School of the Environment resources, such as the Careers Office.
So the current, not in the same way. The current Career Office serves the in-person master's and PhD students. However, we do consult with them and offer specific learning sessions about careers related for our certificate program participants. Same with the alumni office of a lot of the general services of the school of the environment. They operate with a focus on the in-person master's and PhD students, but we are in regular contact with them to develop custom support for our certificate program participants and alumni. And then they've also opened up networking opportunities at events. For example, at the COP28, they had a reception for the Yale community, and they've included our certificate program community in that.
Thank you. And I think the last question we have in our Q&A so far is how much of the course will cover carbon finance ecosystem? So the example with Red Plus Universe, I'm not sure if that's what you meant, Yvonne. Jillian, that's the last question.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. So it is sprinkled throughout the program. It's certainly not a program with a major focus on Red Plus, however, or carbon finance. However, there are so many aspects of planning and understanding carbon projects and Red Plus projects that are relevant across the program. So we introduce climate change and carbon markets in our fundamentals course. In our people course, we talk about some of the opportunities and pitfalls related to the social aspects with examples included from the Red Plus universe. In our strategies course, we have a week on climate change, designing strategies for climate change mitigation and adaptation. And then in our funding course, it comes into play again in this concept of the goods and services and access to ecosystem services and the carbon as one of them. So it appears throughout the program. That said, we are working, and Emmy's taking the lead on this, on on carbon-specific learning opportunities, which we hope will come out as short courses in the coming years, and which also would get integrated into the certificate program.
All right, I do think that's the last question we have in our Q&A and in the chat. So at this point, I'd like to turn it back over to Jillian to close out our session.
Okay, here, let me get things. Here we go. And if you have any additional questions, oops, let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to. Okay, I think this is the right page. If you have additional questions or you want to discuss your personal circumstance, next week we're having a coffee chat. The team's going to put the link for that. Great. Abby put the link for that in the chat here. What that is unlike this session, which is more of a webinar format, the coffee chat is a small group format where we have all our faces showing. It's more like a meeting where you can describe your personal circumstance and your personal questions and interact with our team and hopefully get your questions answered in that regard. Excuse me. Okay. The other thing is to sign up for our mailing list. So we send out regular newsletters that have information about the program, spotlights of current and past participants, and it's where we announce all of the latest news about the program and when applications are opening, when information about scholarships, all of that. So if you're not already, please sign up for our mailing list at the link provided, and that is now also in the chat. And we offer an opportunity to speak one-on-one with a program mentor. So write to tropicalcertificate@yale.edu, and we'll try to schedule a time that works for you to speak with one of the three of us. And depending on the nature of your questions, we can figure out who makes the most sense. And what that gives you the opportunity to do is to discuss your personal circumstance, whether it has to do with any concerns or questions related to the application process or the fit of the program or anything else. So again, this is a very heavily facilitated program, and we're here to support you every step of the way through the admissions process and then as participants and alumni. So we really appreciate all of your really great questions and everyone who came today to the session. Please, again, reach out to us, and we hope to be in touch and to see your application coming. Oh, before we close out, I'll show you the poll results here. Let me share the results from the poll. You can see the poll question was, which of the following best describes you? Whether you're just learning about the program, interested in the program, but have not yet decided whether to apply, interested in the program and planning to apply, or other. And so as I can see in the poll response, around 70% of you all here today have shared that you're interested in the program and planning to apply, which is awesome. So we can't wait to see your application come through. Some of 27% have not yet decided whether to apply. And so we're happy to meet with you in any of these channels, in our coffee chat, speaking one-on-one, to see whether this is the right program for you. And then 3% are just learning about the program. So we hope that's provided useful information for your next steps. So with that, I'll say goodbye myself and hand it over to Abby and Emmy to say goodbye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. And please feel free to reach out to us if you have any follow-up questions, or join us at the coffee chat next week.
Yes, thank you so much for attending, everyone. It was really nice to get to talk to you today. Have a great one. Have a great day.